Taylor Welch, thanks for dropping by, man.
Good to be here, bro. Thank you for having me.
No, of course, of course. So, man, I want to touch base on this today. I want to go from like scaling, something that you've done really successfully, and then talk about faith. But when it comes to, I guess, your inspiration, man, what inspires you to keep going? Because you've achieved so much in the last, let's say, decade. Like, what's your inspiration, man?
I don't want to. There's a lot, but the first is I don't want to. I don't want to cap out before it's time for me to cap out. So I'm super motivated, bro, by like being full, going 100%. I don't want to die prematurely. People die, but they don't expire. They die before they expire. And I don't want to be that type of person. But there are times when I want to like retire. I don't think I'm immune to like, bro, I could just buy a cabin and disappear. But usually that's just an indicator that I'm just like pushing a little too hard. So I need some breaks, you know?
Yeah. And was that belief, was that from like yourself growing up? Was that from like your family? Was it from just like not having what you had what you have now? Or
Well, at the beginning, I wanted to keep going so I wouldn't be poor anymore.
Hmm.
But that's not a sustainable drive. Like the chip on your shoulder is only good in small doses. It'll destroy you if you don't find an alternative fuel source. But that was kind of me at Traffic and Funnels. Like, if we can get this big, then we'll never be at risk again. And then we get that big. And I'm like, if we just get this big, and you just kind of keep pushing. Because where the people were like, when is enough enough? It's never enough. That's not a great place to live in. You don't really want to live at that place. But you can live at the place where like, I want to fully convert or alchemize my potential into this life. That's a different strand of motivation. It's just a different strain.
Mate, that sounds good. So when it comes to traffic and funnels, man, I don't want to touch too much on this today, but I'm curious, what was your biggest problem when it was come to scaling? Because I believe you guys potentially scaled like fast, and you guys were like leading the space, the OGs of the space at one point. What was the biggest problem you guys had scaling that quick?
Team. Yeah, but
like quality people.
Yeah, well, how to train them and then like there's so many some mistakes are like really quick feedback loops. So if you run a bad ad, you kind of know now in like 2 or 3 days. Really, it's not a time thing. It's like how much spend is behind it. Like if we're running a campaign, we'll throw like $2,000 or $3,000 in test budget, and we know at the end of 2 or 3 grand, like this isn't hitting metrics. Some things that you have to test are like really long feedback loops. So while I was at Traffic and Funnels, we hired like 700 people from 2015 to 2022, like the end of 2022. So, I mean, there's just like, we hired people, we didn't know how to train them. I wasn't a great leader. It's like 2015, 2016, 2017, like nobody wanted to work for me because I was like, it was insane. And then I sort of figured it out, got some predictable like tenure with people. And then as we kept starting companies, we would put people over them. But ultimately, when you have team members that know how to say the right thing, but they don't necessarily produce the type of quality work that you would produce, the only way to find that out is when you like go back and fact check and quality check and things like that. But that's something everyone has. Like Elon Musk has had that issue. Freaking the president has had that issue. Alex Hormozy has had that issue. Like I think anybody who gets to a level of scale, they'll all tell you the number one thing that can tank something is always team.
Yeah. So I guess knowing what you know now and being on your faith journey and doing what you do at the moment with your business, what would you have changed now looking at Traffic and Funnels? Anything?
Definitely would have slowed down. I'm definitely slower now. Like just because I can scale something doesn't mean that I do. Like the anchor company right now, like the platform company inside of what we're running is growing very predictably at like 15% a year. If you get into like 30%, 40% territory, things can break really quickly and you don't have time to fix them. So we're a lot slower in how we scale things out and roll them out. I mean, with the faith thing, like, dude, I literally ask God about everything. I don't hire someone without asking God about it. I don't really do anything without like, I tell people at events, I'm like, the greatest business consultant of all times, like Holy Spirit. God's like the best, most OG business consultant. and he'll tell you crazy stuff. And people sometimes look at me funny. I'm like, oh yeah, like when I need team, like I pray for them. I'll just be like, God, send me the right person. In fact, the other day, man, I don't know if you've seen any of our media, like the podcast content or the deep end, but we had a guest queued up, and my wife was kind of like, I'm not sure if that's the right, that's the right guest. And so I said, well, I'll pray about it. So I was praying. I said, God, if you don't want us to do this interview, then have him cancel. And then the day before the interview, he canceled, but it was for a different reason. And I was just like, this is how I run it now. I'm just, whatever you want to happen is cool with me, and make it happen. And people are terrified to do that because they think that God's just going to strip them of everything.
Yeah.
God loves to just give you more, but he's got to trust you that you're going to be obedient with it. And once your heart's in the right place and you're good, like you're good. That's a big difference. That's probably the linchpin difference. So everything about how we even pay people, and like a couple months ago, somebody wanted a raise, and we just prayed about it. I was like, yeah, it's time to go. Like, let's give them a raise.
Wow.
So it really is that practical.
Man, that's incredible. Yeah, my life changed since I gave my life to Jesus, man. And I think it's just been honestly the leader in my life, man,
100%.
What's been your faith journey then? So you were a follower when you like built your businesses before? Like how did that whole transition happen for you, Taylor?
I'll
We've got
just tell
time,
you
man. The long story is fine. I'm curious.
I'll tell you the real story. I was born into like legit mega church world here in America. So I was born in a church called it's like First Assembly in Louisiana. I was born in Shreveport, several thousand people. And then we grew up in that church, and pretty much every church I've been at has either been a mega church or it's turned into a mega church. These are huge, huge organizations. And like I've recorded this and talked about this story on other platforms, but my life got really hard in 2006, 2007. Because you can have a relationship with someone, and it can be a good relationship, but it can be untested.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone sort of has to have you've got when a relationship is tested, it becomes real.
Yeah.
It's kind of not as real before. So the same is true with God. So I was leading worship. I wanted to be a worship pastor, a worship leader, because of crew you guys have in Australia. Hillsong and Planet Shakers, like that just like rippled through the world.
Yeah.
So I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm like, I want to be Marty Sampson, and Hillsong and those guys. And so I was leading worship, and there was some really bad stuff that happened at the church that I was at. And I decided that I was not going to like be one of those guys that like walked away from church. My relationship with God definitely got cold. It's kind of like, well, I don't respect anyone in church, but I definitely respect God. Like I'm not an idiot, once you've seen God do stuff, it's pretty rare to just be like, I'm going to swap and go to Buddhist.
For sure.
I'm not stupid. Like I have a pretty sizable intellect. So I'm not going to like betray God, but it went real cold. And so I was like saved. This is the problem with like Western, probably over there too. Like you can be saved and not have a real relationship with God. Like, so you have salvation, but you're not going anywhere. So when everything started to, it started to get real when it was tested again in like 2022. I feel like one of the first things that I heard God speak to me, and we went on like a 7-8 year sprint with me not really plugging in. Like I was at church, but not really asking God about anything. His first instruction to me was to just give everything away. And I was like, that's not happening. That's really dumb. That's a bad idea. Prove it to me. So I basically was like walking on the beach in Florida on a sabbatical, like a vacation. And I'm sort of praying, but sort of not. And I feel in my head like this voice is just like, in my thoughts is like, you're going to give everything away and I'm going to rebuild it better. And I was like, there's 0 chance that's happening. But if you tell my wife, then I'll believe that it's God. So I get back to the house and I say, hey, Lindsay, I want you to pray about something because I feel like God might have told me to give everything away and sort of start over. And the businesses were big at this point,
Mm.
really large businesses they're doing okay. Like the markets were correcting, but we were sort of rebounding. And Lindsay started crying. She's like, God told me this 2 weeks ago, and I said I wasn't going to say anything to you unless he said it first. So I was like, shit,
Wow.
like this is not that was God, and I made a deal with him, and so now I have to decide like whether I go along with that or not.
That would have been at the peak of traffic and funnels as well. That would have been when you guys were like seriously scaling.
Yeah, there was like we got a professional valuation at like $74 million. There were people that wanted to talk to us about purchasing, but it was pretty clear. It was like, just give this away. So I gave it to my co-founders and gave all my equity away. And so that happened. And I walked away from it. And then shortly after that, the Federal Trade Commission came after us to just do what they do. I don't know if you guys have
It's different. It's different here.
Yeah. So
I think America's a lot harder, man, than Australia.
It's intense and it's kind of insane. So the FTC is like, they're overworked, they're understaffed. So like we kind of had to just go through this process with them. But I think at that time I was just kind of like, again, I was like, this is a bunch of crap, man. Like I was obedient, and then this is what happens. I'm never going to be obedient again. That's kind of like, forget that. Like God asked me to do something. And that's when my relationship with God was born out of this season, because I had conversations with God. I remember one morning I was in our sunroom at home, and I just was like in prayer, and I was like, all right, God, I'm not going to worship anything else, but I think you're the worst dad of all time, because you told me to do something that was not good and it didn't work out. And it was the honesty with God. Most people, religious people, would be like, holy crap, man, like you can't talk to God that way. Like, well, David did it. Like David talked to God that way. It's all throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
Like the honesty of David is really what drew God to him. He was willing to just be like, where are you? Like, what have you done? Like, everyone's trying to kill me. And he would always end the same way, though. He'd be like, but no matter what I feel like, I know that God never abandons his people. I've been young, I've been old, I've never seen the righteous forsaken. And so I was like, I've got to come out of this in a way that's honoring to God. And so I would go through those conversations with God, and then I would always try to end it with being like, but you're still God, and you're still my God, and I'll do whatever you ask me to do again. And God started to rearrange the hierarchy of things, and it was really wild. Like I remember, dude, like 6 months after the new business was started, we're in the middle of the FTC. I'm fighting with God. I'm being honest with them. I'm just letting him have it. And one morning, God was just like, compare the growth tracks. And so I looked at the new business, and this new business had done in 6 months what Traffic and Funnels took 4 years to do in revenue. And we weren't spending money. I wasn't like trying to engineer it that way. And I started just getting this kind of weird, peculiar feeling of like, all right, maybe I took a lot of credit and responsibility for something that God was doing. And I need to learn from this, that if God wants to build it, he'll build it. And if he doesn't want to build it, I need to figure out what house he's building and go get in that. Like, you know, with the markets, like you don't try to make a stock grow. You find where the market's already going. You put your money there. Yeah. So it's kind of like this stock portfolio, and like, what is God touching? All right, whatever he's touching, I want to be around that. Like, I'm going to go find that thing, which is interesting because a couple of weeks ago I was in New York and was having a really cool moment with God in a Starbucks cafe and on Columbus Circle in New York. And Holy Spirit was basically like, you're in my stock portfolio. Like you are someone that I have gone the distance with, and I do not sell you when you're down.
Wow.
So don't sell yourself when you're down. That's the problem, man. We have a harder time believing what God says about us than we do what God says about himself. Like people like you and people like me were like, man, I give my life to Jesus, and I know that God is like the king of everything. He's the king of the cosmos, and like he's awesome. But then God turns back around and says, hey, I want you to run a country. And we're like, no way, dude, I can't do that. Like, we're just a bunch of little Moseses like running around. We're like, I can't speak. It's like, bro, you saw a burning bush, God telling you to speak. Like, shut up and do what he's telling you to do. And so it's cool how Holy Spirit is using, like, he'll use your own personality and the things that you are, like your intellect. He crafted it. He kind of built your language
Yeah.
patterns and your love languages and how your mind works. And so Holy Spirit's basically like, look, I didn't sell you when your stock was down.
Mm,
So you can't sell yourself when your stock is down, which means your
mm,
opinion can't come from your bank account, and it can't come from your momentum, and it can't come from what other people think about you. It's got to come from what I think about you.
mm.
And when we hang on to that, we have some special juice behind us that no one else
Mate,
has.
100%. Man, what a story, man. So has your business changed now when it comes to like running the team? How you would have ran at traffic and funnels, like using like through God more
Yeah,
at the moment?
I'm very I'm very slow until I hear God. I won't I actually won't do anything. In fact, I just am coming out of I'll give you a real life example if you want of that. But I don't want anybody. I
Yeah.
don't want to like talk about myself the whole time.
No,
Um,
let's do it, man. That's good.
so I've been wrestling for about 6 months on like. Do you ever pray and you hear like you have so much good downloads, and then another time you'll pray and hear nothing?
Of course.
So for the last 6 months, I've been trying to figure out like what do you want me to do for 2025, 2026? Like give me some vision because I need. I'm not just going to create my own vision. I was sitting a couple of weeks ago before New York with a young entrepreneur. He's about to exit a software company for 9 figures. He's got multiple projects going. He's dude's a
Wow.
genius. And we were talking about how do you find God's vision for your life? Because um, if you can't find it, you're just running a risk. You're kind of gambling around and like hoping that what you're building is the right thing. So
Mm,
I couldn't hear from God on 2025 and 2026. And I started praying for this in January. Like I wanted to get ahead of it. And I haven't really heard anything. And so legit, dude, like with the team, we just kind of just we didn't really grow, but we didn't go backwards. I just kept everything exactly where it was because until I find what God's wanting us to do, I'll sort of just sit there.
mm,
And then I finally got it, and now we're really pivoting very quickly. So I think what's different now versus TF is I would used to just come up with like I would sit and come up with ideas, and if I thought the idea was good, I would do it. And now
mm.
if I can't feel Holy Spirit on it, then it's a good idea, and I'll just put it in a list of 100 ideas, and I'll just kind of sit on it, pray on it. But once I feel God on something, like everything in my life will reallocate itself to boost that thing.
Yeah.
And so this is quite different. How we hire is different too. You know, we always like me and my wife will pray about who we're hiring and who we're not supposed to hire. Dude, somebody can look great on paper and God can say no.
Mm,
You don't hire
of
them.
course. And do you only
Uh,
hire faith-driven people?
no way.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we hire all sorts of people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
I don't want to build a church. Like I'm not building a church. Some people are like, man, they just same with clients. Like we have crazy clients. Like, we've got all sorts of people and atheists and Hindus and Buddhists and Scientologists and crazy people. And I think we're supposed to sort of be in that, like we're
Mm,
supposed to be around that. I don't think that it needs. I'm not called to build like a Christian organization. So there's no like filtering on that element. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Nah, cool, man. That's exciting. Man, I've been watching your Deep End podcast as well. You do some really cool stuff on there. What do you think's your like the most impactful story that you have when it comes from the Bible? Like a story that you would use in yourself in your life at the moment.
Joseph.
Mm. In what way?
So Joseph was born into. He was kind of born privileged,
Mm.
but not racially so. And it was more his intellect. He was born as like somebody that like his dad and him, like he knew that he was going to be something. He knew he was gonna. It's very different than David, where like David was like, if you really study the text, like David was I think born out of covenant, just kind of like bastardized. So he didn't
Mm.
even recognize David. Joseph wasn't. Joseph was basically like born and given like special stuff, and he was kind of just. He knew he was special. He knew he was something, and positioning was a big issue with Joseph. Like obviously his heart had some like he didn't have the humility that he needed, but he was also badly positioned. So it doesn't matter if you're gifted to be a king. Like you could be gifted with the insight and the foresight of knowing what's going to happen in a country. But the problem with Joseph is he wasn't in Egypt.
Mm.
And so his journey is like, he literally is sold out by his family. The people who were supposed to defend and guard him ended up betraying him. So he experienced betrayal really early in life.
Mm.
And then, but he just kept like bouncing back. So he was sold and they sent him to Egypt. They put him in charge of a guy named Potiphar. And then a couple years go by him, he's like in charge of Potiphar's estate. So he's like in these like seasons where he's like, this isn't what I dreamed of doing. But not only is he surviving, he's sort of rising the ranks of slavery.
Yeah.
So he's kind of going up. But then he's still not positioned the right way. He's in Egypt, but he'll never meet the king. So then he goes to prison. Once again, through betrayal, somebody lies about him. So if you've ever been betrayed, if somebody's ever lied about you, if there's ever been consequences enforced upon your life because somebody lied about you, you sound a lot like Joseph. You're kind of, you meet the criteria of somebody like that. And then he's in prison. A couple years go by and he's like in charge of all of the prisoners. So it's like, what is it about this dude? He's just kind of like rising the ranks, even when there's a lot of unfair practices around him. And he tells these two guys the dream, and he tells them to remember him, like, tell the king about me, tell Pharaoh about me. And then they forget. So then there's another one, like, if you feel like you've sort of been forgotten and you knew at one point you were called to do something special, but everyone has forgotten about you, well, check off another box. You sound a lot like God's candidate. You know, that's who God loves to pick. And finally, he's given an audience in front of Pharaoh, and he, for the first time in his life, ascribes proper credit to his gift. So he literally says that this interpretation comes from God, not himself. So as a kid, he's like, I had this dream, and it was my dream. It was me. He's like, got this gift. Obviously, he knows he can see the future, but there ain't no talk of God in that. It's just like, I had a dream, you know. And then you fast forward through all of this craziness, and he has the exact same experience, but the way he leads it and ends it is like, Yahweh gave me this dream. This is God. So she'll know that it's actually God. And then he takes over and he saves essentially the whole world. I mean, he kind of keeps them alive. So I think he's one of the craziest stories that I can relate with.
No, amazing, Taylor. Mate, let's switch gears, man. So I am in Australia. I run a client acquisition agency here. So for me at the moment, you know, I've got 40 people that work with me. And I think the hardest part, because you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, traffic and funnels, wealth consultant, you work with a lot of entrepreneurs. Mate, what do you think is the most underestimated factor in scaling a business?
Attribution, pattern recognition. We can go into the weeds too if you want something tactical, but we did a profile a couple of years ago because Traffic and Funnels had, you know, 4,500 clients all over the world. And then TWC is 400 or 500 clients all over the world. So we have so much data that we're collecting from everyone that we're working with. And we ran this profile like this. I just wanted to see like why clients won and why clients didn't win. And really there's like a lot of resilience in people who end up getting to the top. They just don't quit. They're very difficult to kill. But one of the biggest ones is the ability to learn a lesson. So you run an ad and the ad doesn't work. You're able to learn the lesson without personifying the lesson, which is really called attribution. It's clean attribution skills. So if you have a sales call that goes bad, it doesn't mean that you're a bad salesperson. It means that there's something in your strategy that has to change. From a weeds level, I think people who focus narrowly up into a certain tier, like people tend to do the wrong things because they're doing the right thing at the wrong time. It's not that what they're doing makes no sense. Like most people are not going to do something stupid. They're going to do the right thing, but out of sequence, they're going to do it too soon, or they're going to wait too long to do the right thing. So before like $1 million, like you should really only have like one main source of attention generation, one main demonstration asset, which would be like a VSL or a book or something, and one main way to monetize. But I do see entrepreneurs, as clients will come in too, and it's like they've got 7 funnels, 14 programs, And it's like, bro, you're doing 30 grand a month. Like, you should not be doing any of this stuff. You need like one way to get attention, one way to prove that you're not full of shit, and one way to collect money. Like, that's all you need. Get to 7 figures. And then that allows you to bridge into momentum where you can then duplicate it with the team. But also you can't overstate the power of resilience. Like, people who just don't quit. It sounds so cliche. I hate even talking about it, but
Yeah,
people
it's true.
quit so freaking fast, man. It's like, go get a
Yeah.
job, do something different, like find something that you love and just go 100%.
So do you think it's more of a mindset thing than it is a strategy thing? Because the strategy is out there. It's just like hard work, sales, marketing, offer, niche. Like, is it more of a mindset thing with these people that don't get
It's
success?
it's a belief thing. It's like it's an identity thing. Because mindsets, you can have a good mindset, but a bad belief system. Like, let's take it. Do you have any clients who do self-sabotage? Like, they self-sabotage themselves?
Yeah, for sure.
All
100%.
right. So most of self-sabotage is not a mindset thing. It's an identity
Mm.
thing. And it's that they have some value system somewhere, or some belief system that's improperly connected, and they are honoring a subconscious value that's
Mm.
conflicting with the conscious desire. And so they're fighting with themselves. That's where self-sabotage comes from. So more of just like do you believe that you're supposed to do this? Do you believe you're going to make it? Do you believe it's possible? Do you believe
Mm.
it's possible for you? Do you believe it's good for your family? Man, it's a great thing to have resources. It's a bad thing to worship resources,
Yeah.
but you should have resources. Everybody should have more than enough. They should have surplus. But when we believe that surplus will compromise our ability to be a good parent, or that
Mm.
surplus makes us a bad human, or that surplus will corrode or compromise our ability to be happy, like, people are walking around with conflicting belief systems.
Yeah.
So a lot of the mindset stuff is really just like tuning your operating system so that your belief systems are correct. That's where resilience and durability come from.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And man, I'm curious, with all the data that you collected from traffic and funnels and then your business now, so what else have you discovered, like in the market, like any like tactical information that entrepreneurs can listen to this and actually help them scale their business?
Yeah. If you have sophisticated clientele, the longer, the more dense and the longer your enrollment journey, the cheaper your acquisition costs are going to be over the long term. So, for
Mm.
example, if you are serving a market that is quite intelligent and smart, less desperate, not a lot of pain, a lot of opportunity costs, but not a lot of pain. Things like books and seminars and longer form type content is going to be real helpful for them. If you have a market that is in extreme pain, sophistication is not required. It doesn't mean that the market's dumb. It just means like they've got to find a solution right now. Then you can get away with really quick, speedy acquisition models like a VSL, or a webinar. Right now, dude, our best clients are coming from anywhere from 150 to 300 days of consumption before they buy
Very
our
interesting.
main products. So we push our days to close way up. We're the opposite of most direct response type organizations, because the people who are really in the ICP profile, or the ideal client profile box, they're temp checking everyone. They're consuming everyone. They're looking at
Mm.
what everyone's doing. And so the more you can give them to work through and to help them before they give you a lot of money, the easier they're going to give you money. But here's what I've found is that the longer it takes somebody to give you money, the longer they will continue to give you money after the first point of initial conversion. So they stick around for a really long time.
Yeah. But isn't there that belief of like speed to lead as well? Like, how would you keep these people warm for so long? Or is it just through content
Content,
consumption? Yeah, content.
content, books. Like, right now we have 3 books inside the Wealthy Consultants like universe. We have 14 or 15 products, and we still use VSLs, but the VSLs are really they're a middle of funnel tool more than they're a top
Mm.
of funnel tool. Our top of funnel is content and cheaper products. I know, like, guys like Alex Hormezi and even to an extent, Myron Golden and some of these guys, like,
Of course, yeah.
they're like, give everything away for free. And I just don't. that's working for them, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to train my market to get
Mm.
everything for free. I think buying is quite healthy for your central nervous system to just get used to it. If you want something, pay something for it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be $100,000. Like we have books for $3 and $10, and people just get used to, like, I gave this person $3. It was worth 100. Now I'm
Mm.
going to give them 3,000, knowing that it'll probably be worth 10,000. Now I'm going to
Yeah.
give them 30,000, knowing that it'll probably be worth 300,000. But you don't ever build that cycle if everything's free.
Mm. Because you shifted a lot from from TF, you just basically doing everything free lead magnets, all of that. So the database will be very differently to what you're doing now, for sure.
Yeah, we don't do that much for free anymore.
Wow.
Like we have the podcast, we have emails. Our emails are quite good. We have, and we're just not as direct response. Like if you hop into our Facebook group or our email list, it's like real stuff.
Mm.
It's pretty dialed. Like we're teaching things from like our copywriters come, like they get our events, and so they take out pieces of events, they teach it over email. So it's like legitimate. I think our open rates right now are like, and open rates are suspect because you can't always tell anymore, but our open rates are like 50-60%
Bro,
on
that's
sizable
insane.
lists, and we send
Wow.
4 emails a week. So people are trained now, or it's like if TWC sends something, it's probably going to be quite good.
Yeah.
And if there's a pitch, it's probably going to be at the end. We're just not blowing people up anymore.
That's
Like
good.
our deep end content is like, like the last 3 videos are over 100,000 views, and 2,500 subscribers a day are coming through YouTube. So it's just like, I think people trust that there's veracity to the content. It's not just a pitch, and
Yeah.
that changes how people relate with you.
Yeah. Brother, I'm curious, what skill did you learn, man? So when you started traffic and funnels, so did you become really good at marketing first? Or was it sales? Was it personal brand? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs today, they're in conflict of like, should I get really good at sales, selling, should be marketing, should be copywriting? Like, what was it for you, bro?
Copywriting.
That was your genius back then.
Yeah. That's what I learned first. And then from copywriting, I went into sales. And then from there, kind of holistic marketing, which would be more like brands marketing, though. Not just marketing like direct response, but like one of our things today is just like, look, we don't want to convert 100% of the market. Like if there's $1 million of goodwill in the market, the maximum we want to convert is 500,000, because one of our moats that will protect us is having fans in the market that are not clients.
Yes.
We want to leave. So that's very, very, very brand heavy. Like we're definitely more branding now than direct response. And you have the FTC in the West, and the FTC doesn't like direct response. I mean, it doesn't matter what you think about that. It's just that they don't like it. So after having met them and having quite a bit of like healthy respect for them, if they don't like it, I'm not going to do it, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as we finish up, I got a question. So when it comes to scaling, a lot of people want to scale businesses, entrepreneurs, 10K per month, 100K per month, everything sounds really appealing, right? So for you, when is a business like, when, in your opinion, an entrepreneur, when do they want to scale that it feels like it's prematurely, or when is it like they're actually ready to scale? Like, what are the factors that you look at when you think they're ready?
Yeah, we define good scale and bad scale based on a unique definition of market cap. So if you're into the financial markets, your market cap is basically just like the totality of the value of the company. And it's more complicated than that, but just for this, it's the market cap in finance is different than the market cap for small business. The type of scale that is premature is if the scale will pay you today and cost you tomorrow. That's bad scale. And people do this when they don't have the client services systems built out. They haven't looked at retention. So I'll tell you this, like our annual retention for every program with the recurring element is over 90%. And they're quite expensive. So we're not talking like $50 a month. We're talking thousands of dollars a month. I'll make that even crazier. There's no contracts. So people don't have to sign on for a year. They don't get a discount for signing up for 2 years. I want that data. And a client canceling is data to me, because then I can figure out what could we have built that would have made it worth it for this person to stick around. And then the machine gets better holistically. So these time-based contracts are some of the worst things for an organization, because you think that it's helping you make more money, but it's penalizing your attribution. It's penalizing your data collection.
Yeah.
So if we were to go out tomorrow though, and we were to pull in 100 clients in the month of November, it would hurt our reputation. I mean, we wouldn't be able to keep up with that.
Mm.
Now we could take 100 customers tomorrow. We could take 10,000 customers tomorrow. So that's a difference. So each tier of delivery, tier of service has its own market cap. Any growth beyond what's good for the future is a bad trade. So good scale is when we have the system set up, we can handle 10 clients right now. Let's hit 10 clients. Well, it doesn't matter if last month we only took 2. And I'm making up
Mm.
these numbers, by the way. It doesn't matter if we go from 2 to 10, that's fine. That's good scale. We can handle it. But
Mm.
there's a line. There's always a line. You have to know where your line is. Like, at what point do you have too much business that you can't hang on to the business? I'm much more ruthless about retaining clients than I am getting new ones. And if that's why we don't have to, we can scale at our own pace. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, man. That's gold, 100%. Because I think people just have this like fear and urgency and scarcity mindset of like just wanting to scale, next goal, next milestone, but it's not coming from that place that, like you just mentioned. It's huge.
Yeah, usually that place is because your identities, you've got a fallacy, like a logical fallacy in your identity, where it's like, if I don't do this, then this person is better than me. And it's just like, if we can get healthy, like, you wouldn't care about it anymore, and then you could grow at your own pace. Like, you kind
Yeah.
of always have enough time. I hate the
Yeah.
gurus who are just like, you don't have enough time, you're gonna die. And it's like, man, if I told that, like, you take a guru right now or somebody at the top of their game, and it's like, if I came in and told you that when you were a kid, you would have just died. It's not healthy advice. It's not good for people. But because
Yeah.
that's the way that they get new business, they use fear as a mechanism to get other people to buy things.
Yeah. 100%. Well, Taylor, thanks for dropping by, man. Appreciate your words of wisdom.
Absolutely.